let's kick it off. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty simple. We've already kicked it off, by the way. So, but John, Egan, and I have been trying to get together for 2 months now. Actively get together. It's been like time scheduled, cancellations, stuff going crazy. So I just said, hey, why don't we just jump on and catch up on a podcast episode? We've never actually had him as a guest. We've had Herring on before with his partner Michael. And
business partner.
Thanks for clarifying. But I thought it would be a great conversation to catch up. I know, John, it's right about a year since you were on Jamie's. I went back and listened to that. So I think it's a good time to catch up. You both have great brands. John, I mean, you've been with Lucid how long now? 5 years?
3 years. 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, time flies.
Sure does.
And Herring, you've been in your seat with Fuse how long now?
6.
Okay, maybe that's where I got the numbers confused. Hey, they average out somewhere to 5. But you guys obviously both we've done panels like this before. You guys were on the Juicy stage last year. We had y'all in Houston for GWA for Immersive. So I think there's great synergy between both your backgrounds and both your personalities and just your way of looking at people. Right. And how y'all love people well. And I loved hearing, John, you were talking about joy, right? And how when you interview people, you're looking for that joy. So Herring was asking, hey, what do I need to know? And I said, yes. And I said, it's just going to be 3 buddies sitting around, just catching up. But we'll start with you, Egan. I mean, since you were on last year, I mean, y'all hit full steam ahead on growth in Atlanta and Phoenix, and even, doing some deals here in Dallas, creeping around, looking for some more, I hear.
Yep.
So why don't you bring us up to speed, kind of where Lucid is and kind of what's the last year brought?
Yeah. Some great stuff happened last year. We opened this one in Buckhead just about, I guess it was March of 24. Doesn't sound like a year ago, but it sure was. And I hadn't been out here, I guess, to spend some serious time. So I was excited. I came for the whole week this time. Often with these trips, you just go, 1 day or 2 days. And by the time you get a meal or something, like, you hardly even spend time. So yesterday, it was great. It was like, I'll share that in a minute, but great stuff happening at Lucid. We opened 2 in Phoenix in the last year, and 1 in Scottsdale and 1 in Camelback. And then we closed 2 and combined them into 1 mega Lucid. It's gorgeous. The 17th floor, 8080 North Central Expressway up by North Park Mall. And it's so beautiful. We closed 2 that we had as mature centers, and they were doing fine. It was just the leases were coming up, and, if we wanted to spin those around, and it was a better business deal to get in a building with some opportunity. It's actually, you drive up 75 in Dallas, and you can see it at the top. Like, nighttime, you can see our light fixture from the highway. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got the other logo on the top of the building, which looks so cool. It's 30,000 square feet, 32, 2 floors. Awesome. Love it. Best, most beautiful. Our design team is just dynamite, and the operations team just keeps it full and beautiful, and did some different design stuff on it, which I'm happy to talk about if people are interested in that. But yeah, great. My wife does a lot of our art, so she had a really cool piece in there on a huge wall, 30 feet up in the air. It was super cool. So those 4 locations have been pretty good. This year we're like Gio said, we're kicking around, but nothing in ink yet for 25. We're trying to fill some of these empty spaces and seeing how things are going and taking some new approaches. I'm happy to kind of talk about that too, which we've had some new ideas.
Yeah, interesting. 8080. I just had a conversation with a broker that y'all toured with yesterday, who had popped into 8080, and he said, you guys have done an incredible job there. So I needed to swing by and take a look at that. Interestingly enough, it is across the street from a failed Venture X that went back to the landlord. I don't know if you know that, but there at Campbell Center, that Venture X failed, went back to the landlord. With Burge's help, they were able to stabilize it, and now it's Mark Burge is running it for the landlord. But it's a 2-story space, They did a great job with it. You should go look at it just so you know your competition.
Across the
But
highway or on the
it's
what
on
is
the
that?
same side. You
On the
know
same
those
side? Oh,
those
okay.
gold buildings right
Oh yeah, sure.
across Ruth Haven from you? They're in there.
Yeah. That's on
But
the beginning of the show Dallas. You can see those
yeah,
gold buildings.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, it's always interesting. I mean, how do you look at competition like that? Clearly, you didn't even know it was there. So
Yeah.
that's how much it matters to you. I mean, what's
Well,
you and your team's view on it?
I think sometimes if we're seeing some success in an area, we're like a bar, like you have success, like bars want to be near other bars and like, okay, people are driving to work here. This is a rich neighborhood. People can afford this. People are interested in co-working. Great. In fact, there was a time where Nick and Flip had a casual conversation and I caught the end of it that like, could we do a common desk and a Lucid in the same building?
Yeah.
Like people are going to come into our space and say, oh, this is totally me, or no, I don't fit in here. I need a little more, down or up or whatever they're looking for. That's great. Like I mean, if we're all succeeding, we're all succeeding. That's great. Like I love that. I love seeing success stories. I don't, it is competition, but it's all internal. Like it's, and my team's going to say, oh gosh, we got someone from WeWork or Regis or something. Like great. Like I, you know, does it excite me more than getting someone from that never officed before, I'm excited for good stuff happening in the industry.
Well, you've been working for Flip too long when you start comparing stuff to bars and drinking. So that was an interesting analogy. I agree with you, but an interesting one nonetheless. So I know that Flip would be proud. Mm.
Well, success breeds success. When your competition is filling in a space and they have a waiting list or something, great. Like that's a hot area I want to be.
Well, it's funny, John, this is an interesting one for you because obviously Mike comes from the hotel area. And so we're seeing hotels co-brand now, right? As you see two brands within the same hotel, you go left for one, right to the other, they combine. The one I stayed at recently in Raleigh, half of it was a Residence Inn and the other half was an A-loft or something like that. And so but they shared a pool. They shared the gym, but it's just interesting. And so I think that's what people are struggling with understanding, even within the industry, right? Is that there is segmentation, there is different product types and different offerings. And so, we're trying to call them all the same thing when, they're not, right? One's not like the other. But I mean, John, Herring, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, our hotel background is pretty instructive in this, and I was actually going to ask John this question, so thanks for teeing it up. Yeah, I mean, you go to a particular part of a city and you see not just multiple hotels, you see the same brand. You see a Marriott, like you said, even in the same building now. So there's differentiation amongst, the offerings and how the room's set up and whether it's full service or whether it's short-term stay, long-term stay. So John, the evolution of Lucid from its previous iterations, even with other names, Work Suites and so on, it seems like you're really kind of coming into your own as a brand. I mean, your design is amazing. I mean, it's really, really nice. If you had to pick like a hotel brand or a star level, where would you find yourself right now in the current Lucid design stage? How would you sort of describe yourself in hotel language?
That's a great question. So I love Las Vegas. That's like my favorite city to visit. Those hotels I frequent the most. I just get on Expedia and find cheap ones when I'm traveling for work. But in Vegas, like the Vidara or Aria, I love an experience when you come in. I'm so proud of my team that we hire great people, and that's a big touch on it. But when you step into those, there's a sensory experience like, oh, this is going to be cool. I'm going to relax here. The 360 off the elevator or stepping into a location is a big part of the design part. So for a potential client, a tour, we call them visits, someone that comes in for a visit, that first step when they come in, that the lobby is the appropriate size. It's not oversized where we're wasting square footage where we could be making money, but it's not a dentist's office where the desk is shoved up to you. And we want that experience to be like Whoa, I get to work here. For me, I'm interviewing people 5 or 6 times a week. Oh my gosh, I would get to work here? Yes, you would. Like, this is, you see beauty, kind of see I'm in an office in Atlanta and lots of city views, and Houston, you see the NRG Stadium, and, in Atlanta where you can hear the ballpark where the Braves play, from the offices, which is so cool, especially when the Mets beat them. That's awesome. So
You
we're
know,
we're we're really, really,
you know.
appropriately experienced, so that we want it to be something different, that it's not just a boring workspace.
Yeah, and I think such a important part of that, like you said, is the hospitality experience from the time you just see what you're stepping into, but also it's how you feel when you step out into it. Not just, I mean, you were talking about the senses, but how does your team greet the guests coming in? I think a big part of it is knowing their name if they're an existing client, right? And knowing about them. I mean, I think this is a big part that I'm big on, that tying it back to hotels is the experience, the loyalty side of things, from the brand to the client, but also the client back to the brand, right? And I think that that's such a major part of it. Talk about how you kind of instill that in the team. I mean, is there certain things? I mean, how does the team manage those? I mean, because some of these centers have upwards of 100 offices, right? And 100 members that come through. And do you have a CRM system? Do you have just, post-it notes, just people's memory? I mean, how do you make that work?
I love bringing people in that have some hospitality background. Chick-fil-A
Mhm.
is a huge resume thing. If someone worked there or worked in a hotel, is a good one. Bartenders are usually pretty good who come in that, have an experience. Teachers, memorizing names. We do some mnemonic trainings here and there with our team, but it's from the very beginning. I'm picking up on, can this person do they use my name in the interview? You know, the way I do it is I dig through Indeed, see resumes. There's some cool tools you can do to different words. You can even search by, like, if someone worked at Chick-fil-A, for example, and then send them out to manager in Phoenix. She does a preliminary interview and says, "Nope, John, this one's a dud. Nope, nope. Oh, I like this one. You should interview her. 20 out of 10. Get this girl in or guy in tomorrow. This one's great." They come in, have the experience with me, usually in Las Colinas, or if I'm traveling. So I'm picking up on things. Are they using my name? Are they comfortable enough with me to say, "John, this place is beautiful." Boom, they use my name. The names are important to this person. I pick up lots of little things like that. Then we do have an operating system where they're answering calls. So our community coordinators, community managers are answering our clients' calls. So they're saying, "Thanks for calling Bob's Accounting. Oh, yeah, sure. Let me see if Bob's available." And they could be in Atlanta and answering it for, someone in Houston. So they're using a lot of names. They know who the people are. We train them to compliment people, like a Trader Joe's sort of thing. Like, "Oh, this arugula is delicious." Whatever you go to Trader Joe's, they compliment you. Like, compliment on new jacket, haircut, purse, shoes, whatever. Like, "Hey, look really joyful today. What's going on?" Or, "I love your clients. They're great." Whenever they come in, they're so nice. When someone gets complimented about their clients, like, that's the best thing. If you said, "Gosh, John, Egan, like, your clients, the people that work at Lucid are so nice. Man, what a community we're building." And we are working on that community.
I mean, John, how does that overlap with you and your team?
Yeah, it's again, the hotel background is pretty instructive there, and so we kind of come at it from a hospitality focus. We read books on hospitality. We go to conferences. We try to really focus on that piece. We try to make that our distinctive. And so, yeah, we want people to feel very, very welcome and cared for. If you take care of people, they're going to resign. Even if your product may be a little less than the guy down, or a little more than the guy down the street, or a little less in quality, even, man, if you take care of people and they want to come there, then they'll be loyal, and they'll give you great reviews, and they'll probably refer some people. So hospitality, Gio, I mean, design is super important. It's the first impression. It's hard to, even if the people are the nicest people in the world, if the carpet's dirty or the floor is stained, then you've got to overcome that, and it's hard to overcome that. I think cleanliness it might be equal to hospitality, especially reading our reviews lately. It's interesting, Gio. I've seen those two themes come across fairly often. The place was clean and the people were great. The place was clean, the people were great. They don't talk about the furniture necessarily, or sometimes I guess they may mention the decor, but yeah, those are critical things. And so I'm reading the book right now on reasonable hospitality, which is a phenomenal, just another check. And shout out, I think it was GWA. I'm almost 1,000% sure it was GWA who had the guy from Ritz-Carlton Leadership Institute come about 4 or 5 years ago, and that made it a very indelible impression upon me. Just, we've got to be great. So we talk a lot about, I'm sure everybody else does too, surprise and delight, give the team a budget. You're not accountable to me. You don't have to ask me. You spend this much money on our clients. You let them know that we care about them, and surprise and delight is one of the best ways to do it. So yeah, hospitality, cleanliness, like a hotel. I mean, if you can nail those two things in the co-working world, then, and really do well, do well in the other areas as well. But if you're not succeeding in those two areas, I think you're probably setting yourself up for some failure.
Yeah. And so talking about taking care of people, I mean, John, you are, a lot of people don't know this, but you moonlight as a chaplain, right, Herring?
Mhm. Yeah, moonlight as a chaplain. I'm an unpaid employee of the town of Prosper. So I do that. I've been doing it for about, I think, maybe 8 years now. And yeah, it's just a way for me to serve my community. That's another core value that I know probably all of us share, to serve locally and globally. And being a chaplain is not just serving the men and women who are our firefighters and our police officers, but it's also serving the townspeople, probably on their worst day. That's the sad part, is I do get to do some fun ceremonial things when people are happy, a new fire station, new police station, a new class of recruits coming through. Those are great, but usually it's on somebody's worst day. And so that is a way that I can step in, and with just, a hug and an encouraging word, maybe a prayer if they have a faith background, try to help them out. So yeah, that's that is something I do on the side, but it's actually, I'm the only chaplain right now. So I'm basically 24/7, but thankfully in our town we don't get that many calls. So yeah, but I certainly enjoyed that. It's been fun.
Yeah, Egan, with your background as in industry, right, as a camp counselor and serving not only
Camp
the
counselor, come on. The camp counselors are the college kids. I'm a camp director, Gio.
oh, sorry, my
Jeez.
bad, my bad. It just more so much more endearing when you say camp counselor, right? It just makes it seem like you're on the ground level, not just dictatorship telling camp counselors what to do and how to take care of people. So you whatever you prefer, man. I mean, we're in an era where we love using these words. So, well, as a camp director, Mr. Egan, you have to miss those interactions with family and the students for the most part, right? I mean, it was what, elementary and junior high camp for the most part. How now you're a camp director
Mhm,
slash
mhm.
VP of operations for adults. And so how do those overlap? How do you see those things? I mean, how do you fill your cup with some of those things that you've missed, with those really heart to heart interactions? I mean, you still can have them at a certain level, but it's on a professional level, I think it's a little different.
I think empathy, running the camp was incredible. It was building relationships with the staff, the campers, the family, the donors, the board, the people that were really involved in creating a mission, and that was, to lead young people to a deeper relationship with the Lord. And you did that in outdoor experiences, and being away from phones and getting in a cabin of people you don't know and building friendships. And sometimes it's great relationships that last a long lifetime. And sometimes it's just struggling through homesickness and getting through, some challenges of things that wouldn't have experienced at home. And work in a secular work, people still need empathy. They still need a leadership and a team around them that cares about them and is with them, like John said, in their worst moments. You work a lot of hours with the in this job. Like you're in and you're really focused all day. We talk a lot about Sabbath, that Sabbath is holy, and um, even in a secular term, everyone loves Sabbath. Like rest, that, hey, we're going to work real hard from 8 to 5:30, and I'm not going to call you on the nights and weekends. Just give me this time. Like let's
Mhm.
work hard now. I might ask a lot of you in that time, and that's okay. We're all going to celebrate the wins together. Sales team, operations, IT, facility, everyone on our team is like celebrating wins. There is a personal element. People do have car issues. People do have
Mm,
children that are sick. And
mm,
we had a girl that just started with us, and her husband passed away. Like it was 2 weeks in, I should say boyfriend, whatever. Just, gosh, just heart wrenching. Just started this new job, and she loved the
mm,
training and all this. And you know, Flip would be embarrassed that I'm sharing this on this, but he was very generous with this girl. Just kept
mhm,
paying her for a good bit of time, like, and she just started with us, but
mhm,
no one asked for that. It's just this life comes here, and it was a horrible tragedy, and we just took care of her beyond what the HR handbook says. Like, I drove out to her house and brought her gift card and food, and like the day it happened, we were really like, how do we care for these people? We're a company, we're people that are pro-life in every capacity. What that means, that we love people, we love moms, we love people that are going through some challenges, and that's a whole life part of it. And we want to be in the journey. We're going to celebrate in the summertime. We have a boat party, and we facilities team makes a big brisket, and we drink and dance and laugh, and have great lunches and float on floaties, and Christmas party. We had like 92% of our staff there at our 8080 location, and celebrate and laugh and bring our team in for Atlanta and Phoenix and all that. But we're also with you in the downtimes too. We know there's going to be some challenges, and to be around a culture. Not everyone has a faith community, and we're that in a lot of ways to people. That these are the people I care about. These are people that care about me in my toughest times. And for work to be that, like, man, I couldn't ask for more. I'm blessed to work with the people I have, and whether they have a faith background or not, we're going to care and take care of them when there's good times and bad.
And that's such a great example. Like when people ask me who I think the best operators are, I always say it's the local and regional operators, right? And that's because you can get down to the granular level that you just explained, right? For WeWork or Industrious or IWG or any of those big players, it's hard. I mean, it just doesn't happen to what the extent you just called it, because it's just, so there's so many layers. So the ability for a CEO and founder like Flip to get involved and to make the decisions to continue paying that staff member, or for you as the VP of operations slash director of the camp, right? Because you're very important. It's huge for you to fly out there or drive out there or be able to do some of those things that the large organizations, not that they can't, they won't, because in a lot of cases, they don't even know there's that problem, right? And so it gets lost in translation. I mean, Herring, what do you have to say about, what he just shared?
Yeah, in fact, I was going to ask you, but you answered it. What do you do for your employees to let them know that they're valued? And maybe for our listeners here today, maybe you can give a few more examples. You mentioned the summer camp and the boat party and the Christmas party, and those are awesome. Are there any other things like birthdays, work anniversaries, training, and maybe continuing education? Gio, just for your benefit, we've started to, or everybody, I guess that's listening, we've started to try to send at least one staff member to every major co-working conference every time one is offered.
Mm.
And that's a benefit. I mean, they get to go out to a cool city and experience all the things that the three of us experience twice a year, which are great, but we've really tried to kind of bring them along in that, and they really value that. And so maybe John, just talk, you mentioned the two big ones, but what about the daily things or the monthly things?
Yeah, we have one person that is in charge of birthdays and anniversaries, and she sends out the email sometimes with pictures or inside jokes or stuff that is not just "Happy birthday, Anisha. We're thankful." It's like inside jokes. Well, I've talked before about flip coins. We'll have the queen of flip coins or the king of flip coins that are internal currency. That when you sell offices, you get we have a Chuck E. Cheese day once a month of flip coin shopping, and then we have a mega flip coins every 3 months that, like whatever the inside joke is about this uh, manager or facility guy or IT person, we want to acknowledge them in email sold company. And, sometimes they're more better than others with pictures and stuff. I think a lot of it is having a support team of supervision, um, saying this humbly, like I'd really try to get to know the team. Like I really, just even spending these couple days in Atlanta is just sitting up by the desk and visiting with the community coordinator and learn a little about her life. I think that means a lot. Again, not about me, but the people in the company, whether and it's the regional directors or myself or even Flip. Flip is always, hey, I like that girl at our LBJ location. She's really nice. Where'd she come from? Would she want to grow at the company, or does she want to go into design or marketing or sales or whatever? We want to help people grow. The other thing is I want to help people grow in life. I say that right from the interview. I'll say, you're probably not going to retire at 72 from Lucid Private Offices. I want you to grow in this. What would you want to grow in this experience with? And like some people say, I want to go into commercial real estate. Awesome. This is a great way to do it. No license. Learn if you like giving tours and selling. Can you say to someone, will you buy this office for $3,600 a month? Like, if you can't say those sort of words, you're probably not going to go into commercial real estate. So, oh, I hate this. My stomach gets nuts. Or I love this. Like the thrill of that. And, we watch tons of KPIs that you're succeeding. Hey, this is great. Like maybe you should, go into sales or marketing or whatever that part of our company is, billing, finance, that sort of thing. So I want to see people grow. And we tell them that right from the beginning. If you work 18 months with us at as a coordinator or manager, that's great. Like, awesome. Like, we'll take you out for a drink and let you go if that's the case. But, I want to help people no matter what, and mutually want them to help us, and grow.
Yeah, I think that's amazing that you do that. And for those that, and I'm one of those, for those that haven't heard you talk about it, when you say the flip coins and all that stuff, what is that? I mean, obviously
so
Flip would name something after himself, but what?
Well, it's kind of like Bitcoin. So we do this fun thing where if you, as a different KPIs, but if you're a community manager, you don't make a commission on selling an office, but you get 10 flip coins for every seat you sell. So we sell an 8-seat office, you'd get 80 flip coins. And then at the end of the month, we calculate all these and we do them different to phone answering, blitzes, or submitting their HubSpot sheets in so we can track the visits and all that stuff. And then at the end of the month, Deb, who's speaking at the Juicy conference in Boston, Deb Middlebrook, she's awesome. Deb and I have this meeting and it takes an hour. We track them all down and we say, hey, you have, 140 flip coins. And we bring our whole CX team on a Zoom call and we open up the flip coin store and you can get Cowboys tickets or Sephora gift cards or boots or Burger King gift cards. I'm a big Burger King guy myself. Lots of different stuff. And then every 3 months we do a mega flip coins, which is a trip to Nashville or a cruise, or we have one woman's going to Cabo next month, and Vegas trips, all sorts of fun stuff that like probably wouldn't get to do other than that. And, it's just, you kind of forget they're logging, but there's an auction and they kind of battle like, oh, I'm going to get the cruise. And it's really fun. And then they put it up on LinkedIn to say, hey, I love Lucid, got to go on a cruise. I'm really excited about working for this great company that supports me. It kind of helps both of us.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's
See,
fun.
Harry, you need mic coins.
Just doesn't have the same ring.
Yeah.
John, you've got a founder in Flip that is, I mean, they broke the mold well, he's got brothers, I think, right? At least one brother, but maybe they didn't break the mold, 2 or 3, which I've met, and they're awesome. What a great family. But Flip has set the tone for your company in similar ways, but better ways maybe than the founder of WeWork. I mean, like the tone at WeWork was fun and energetic and an experience and community. And it seems to me that Flip has been able to perpetrate that from one location to 20 or however many you're in now. How do you translate your CEO's vision? John, you're the VP of operations, right? It's really up to you to ingrain that into the cultural DNA. Now, Flip is obviously a big part of that. He's speaking and he's touring and he's reinforcing that. But on a granular level, it's really up to guys like you and then the community directors or the general managers to instill that. What are some of your secrets when it comes to making sure that that unique corporate value of that Flip's vision for the company is instilled from top to bottom? What have you found successful?
That's a great question. One of the things that saying all of this with humility that I feel like I'm really good is challenging him on things when he comes up with an idea and maybe I don't like it right away, and I'll have to think about it. I'm not a quick decision maker, and he knows that, and I'll chew on it a little bit, and I'll take my time in accepting it, and then when I say, okay, yeah, actually, I'm bought in on this vision, and he's he would say probably one of the gifts he wants to grow in is being able to speak publicly. That's not something like, at all the conferences, rarely is he on the stage. He's great on the stage, but I don't think that's not where he shines and loves to do that. He'd rather like get an inside scoop and get someone's ear in the lobby or something.
Right.
So I can do that. Like I did that at camp with a microphone and talked to, 1,000 people or whatever. That's not nervous at all about that. When I'm excited about something, I get really excited. So, when we change a model for how we're giving tours or visits, when we, our team used to be called operations, and that was very sterile. And then we changed it to CX, and we said, hey, let's just make that client experience. Now we've changed clients to members, so I'm not sure we're going to make it MX, but like, okay, we changed some nomenclature. But when I get on it, like, hey guys, we're just going to call this CX, and I'm just going to roll off my tongue and, oh, okay, I'm listening to John all the time, so John's calling it CX. Let's just do that. When I get excited, we're doing something new with our offices. It took a long time for me to get this. So one of the things we're using these activated props in the offices. So when you visit one of our
What is that?
centers, so all of our centers, I wish I could spin this camera around, but you're not going to see it too well. But we put, like, for lack of a better word, tons of shit in the offices, empty boxes, soda cans, coffee cups, that when you walk by on a tour, you're like, oh, that office is full. That office is full. Is there even anything I could buy here? Let's go check when we get back to the conference room, let's go, I'll have to see, because we are pretty, it's good occupancy. So in the mind of the person, it's like, what, everything looks full, not perfectly placed succulent plants and, a notepad that like kind of looking like a mess. So we talk about everything's activated. I hated this idea in the beginning because I'm like, we do so much work in making these nice. But when you go into center, like we've just changed the idea of what we're going to do. And once Flip talked about this, I'm like, I don't like that. Well, guess what? It kind of didn't happen until I was like, you know what? I love this idea. And then I'm like, let's go to Goodwill and get some crap, and don't throw away any Amazon boxes. And like, we're going to make these offices just look like they're totally full, especially in center. So we take the blinds off most of our offices, and now you have to pay an extra bit to have blinds so that people are seeing eyes like, hey, smiles, energy, joy. Crank up the music a little bit, putting sports on the TV rather than, a boring stock thing or, share your screen here. Little things that it's not party, it's not beer kegs and kombucha and all that stuff. It's
Right.
like just a little more energy in the center. Flip got some ideas from visiting Kiln, and he came back jazzed up, and I was like, all right, it took a while, but then now we're doing it, and it's like the inside joke now. When someone's making fun of it, it's been accepted in the community.
I can see how a visit to Kiln would do that. That's a great brand. Gio, I don't know if you've interviewed those guys yet, but
I think Arian's in the next couple of weeks. It took us a while to get him, but yeah, they've done an incredible job. I mean, I love, Egan, how the passion pours out of you, right? You mentioned when you get excited, and you just got excited. So it's interesting just to watch how people light up when they talk about certain things. And, has salesmanship been something you've had to grow into, and leading the sales side of people? And you don't do that in a camp, right? You create an experience like you just said. But to me, that box scenario, the crazy office that seems occupied, is a sales tactic, right? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but it's funny. I've toured with people or centers that have, they put up signs that say office taken, but yet I'm like, it's a dark office. So, is that really something that actually works when you look in and it's an empty office that says taken? I I don't see that. But, talk to about the excitement and what got you there. Why are you so passionate about it?
Well, I think that idea, the sense of urgency, like it is,
Yeah.
if they get to that point, like, can I even get an office? Like, palm of your hand. Like, literally, they called us to say, I want an office in Grapevine, Texas. They We scheduled it. They got in their car and came in, greeted the nice guy at the front desk, and they're getting they're interested in getting an office. So they already have the need. So now we have to build some excitement. Like, what, this place is awesome. I'm seeing people around, and there's good coffee, and like there's an excitement that, like, if they can get to the point, like, if you test drove a car and they said, oh, it's on hold for someone else, like, can I buy cash today? That sort of idea, like, oh, but guess you could. It's first person has a checkbook, that sort of thing, that we can build them, that if they have that experience of what this place is, passing that on to our team is easy when you're excited about it. And there's incentive, whether it's flip coins or, hey, we track a lot of numbers, a lot, but all those KPIs of their visit close ratio every month, if anyone on our CX team, and we do 60 or 70% of the visits, if any of them are closing at a 33% rate over their last 15 visits, it's a $500 a month bonus, which is pretty good. So we watch those numbers, track them. If you gave the first tour, and let's say give a tour at Central Expressway, and then they go over to Cole Avenue and they didn't really like that one, then they go over to Mockingbird, like, oh yeah, I want to be here overlooking the SMU Stadium. Yeah. I want an office here. Great. Well, that girl at Central Expressway gave the first tour, she would get that as her close. So we track all those numbers and, give them incentive. Like, she's going over to Mockingbird, like, did they close? That guy was so nice. Did they get off? Oh, great. There's not a competition of, come to my center, not there, that sort of thing.
John, you guys peek behind the curtain a little bit on this, because doing a brand name change, were you a part of that when you went from
Yeah.
WorkSuites to Lucid? Okay. So I don't know if we can talk about this, how
Two.
much.
Two brand name changes.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
Meridian to
WorkSuite.
WorkSuites to Lucid.
Right. So you were a part of V2 to V3, John. In my mind, changing a brand name, especially a brand like WorkSuites, which was all up and down the Central Expressway in Dallas, a very recognizable name, brand, that took guts to change it. And I'm not really sure if I know the story as to why, and maybe there is we just thought it was cooler. But you had to kind of shepherd that change, and maybe you could tell us the why, and then maybe you could tell us just briefly the how. Like, what does it take to do something like that? Why did you do it? And was it, obviously there was a business reason behind it. You wouldn't have done it otherwise. It's expensive.
Yeah, Flip ordered a new car and it was a Lucid, and so he wanted his car to match the company. So therefore,
That's
as good a reason as any.
I wanted it to be Egan Private Offices, but I got quickly shot down on that one. No, it's not that crazy of a story, but when, it takes time with copyright laws and getting things through the books, and WorkSuites was labeled like merely descriptive of what we did. And there was also a threat of a lawsuit with another company, maybe even overseas or something. I don't even know all the details on that, honestly, but it was like Suites Work or Suites at Work or something like that. And it came down to, like, well, we could spend $500,000 and, go through these lawsuits. And Flip was kind of like, I don't even like the name WorkSuites. Like, it's just kind of boring. And the colors were a smidge dated, and wanted something new, especially with all of our new centers with a lot of light and a lot of glass that reflected that. And Lucid is of light. And he loved the word private offices, that it was like a private jet or private banking or private assistant, something like that. Like, wow, this has a luxury turn, even though that LU brings the mind to luxury, that, okay, this is something different. And we were moving away from a lot of the older executive suites. We still have some of the mature centers in our portfolio, but we're moving away from that and doing the more 80/80 big glass, lots of light. And he does drive a Lucid too. And he liked that word. I like the word too, but I think the private offices is the part that just is that professional touch that is a little more. So we'd say, hey, we could spend the money on changing our website and the crowns on the buildings and all that stuff, or we could pay a lawyer or something to, go to court for 6 or 7 years. And we just said, this is way better. We can change the color tone, and haven't looked back. It feels like it was a million years ago, honestly, but we've been real happy with it. Also, we're very white label inside of our centers. You do a 360, you're never going to see our logo inside of it. So it was the crown on the building. We don't really have a lot of swag. I was joking with the hat when we started with Geo, but I was doing my Geo impression. I don't know if the camera was on, but so tell me about, I was looking at your LinkedIn and tell me about, that's the best Geo I can do. That's
Pretty good.
Okay.
9 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. But it's really like, we don't really have a lot of swag. It's Flip had said, do you think there's any of our clients that would like put a Lucid sticker on their laptop? No, I don't know. I'm not sure that's something we're shooting for. I love some of the communities, the friendships. Like there's a group at Las Colinas that just, I don't know, we could almost vacation together. Like there's a good community there. We want that in all of our centers.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's knowing what you're going after, right? Because I mean, WeWork had the stickers. They went crazy with the swag and everything around that. I mean, Common Desk had the stickers, and they kind of had the cult-like following as well. So I mean, I think it just comes down to who and what are you trying to target, right? And not that those companies weren't targeting professionals, but I think it's a different level of professional, right? An attorney is not going to slap a sticker on the back of their laptop or their Nalgene bottle or anything else. And so I think it's just understanding who your client base is. What are you trying to achieve? Now, help me understand this. I mean, so you guys have been around for 24 years now. So you've got centers that are still the traditional old executive suite, right? Hard wall offices, hard doors, maybe with the glass inset or something. And then, you've got 8080, which you just finished, which I haven't been in, but a lot of your new spaces I've been in have the more glass front, right? Not necessarily the entire glass front. So two things is, how do you kind of differentiate and how do you kind of play with those two different product types, right? And then the second part is, you teased us on, you've done some unique things at 8080. What were those and why did you do them? So 2-part question.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting having some of those more mature centers in as part of our portfolio where they're just a different look in them. And we have lots of, for every client, that not every client is going to say, I want glass on my office, or I want to be in this vibrant center. Some don't really want the executive suite type experience and sheetrock. If they're a counselor or maybe a more mature attorney or something like that, they don't really want to, there for all the friendships and eye contact and all that stuff. They're more interested in just, I want to get that. That's fine. That's something that appealed to them. So even in our new build outs, we always have some element of sheetrock, closed in offices, for counselors or for privacy. Even in some meeting rooms, usually have one of those in there where, if you're meeting with a client. So we know it's a diverse group. It's going to come, hey, where do you live? Oh, you live in Keller. Okay. Like we have a location in Keller that's a little more mature. It's over here. We have one in South Lake that's, probably equidistant from where you live. Okay, that's perfect. So we know, and those centers, some of them, several of the mature centers are staying very full, which is great. We're seeing that. I don't know if we'd start another one like that. I'm 99% sure we wouldn't, but that's, we're keeping those just two different markets. The prices usually reflect that as well. Your other question, what was your other question? You're talking about 8080?
Yeah, 8080. You said you did some unique things that you kind of teased us on. So what did y'all do special there?
We did a lot more. Well, the coffee lounge, the lobby is high ceilings. We did this at a few others too, but some booths, and they're creating a great space to just get out of your office to eat your lunch and have some natural light coming in. It's a very high ceiling. That's 17th floor. We have the 17th and the 15th floor. Big, just enormous glass behind that reception desk. And it's people that I don't even know say this is breathtaking. Like for an office space, it's just The light fixture is super cool. You can see it on our LinkedIn, this, rope light that you can see up and down the highway. The first time we closed 2 centers and moved those clients over, and those were both mature centers. So sometimes there was attorneys and, folks like, "Oh my gosh, it's going to be all glass. This isn't going to work for me." Like, okay, that's fine. We have, this one you could go to, or that, some people went over to Dallas Gallerias and something like that, but, it filled up. I think we're at 82 or 83% occupied there, quickly. And there's a waiting list on 3-seat exterior window offices. Like, we're filling up quickly. So some folks, it just didn't work for them, and that's fine. But I know what you're talking about, the building. I mentioned that earlier. Okay, so what we did was on 17th floor, we did all 3. Now I know why you're asking this. We did 3-seat exteriors, okay, and 2-seat interiors, all on the 17th floor. And down to the 15th, it was all team suites on windows and solo suites, 1-seat offices that are interior. So in all of our other locations, we have 2 or 3 floors. We mix and match. Oh, you want a 3-seat? Oh, you can go to 15 and you can go up here. We tried just doing this all the same way. And I don't know if we do it exactly this way again. There was a lot of wins on this because it wasn't like, oh, we have one. Oh, well, I'll just take the 13th. Well, I'll wait for a 17th floor. Call me when you have one of those open. Like, no, like all the 3 seats are upstairs and all the solos are downstairs. You don't have any solos upstairs? No, we don't. Okay, well then 15th floor works. So it's better on a sales capacity. There was a lot more curating the client that was coming in. They're looking for something. Well, I'm going to show you exactly what we have. Don't wait on it because there's not going to be a solo suite on the 17th floor. Team suites on the exterior are awesome. Well, number one, the 17th floor is just about full everywhere. And those team suites, I think we only have 1 or 2 open. Most of the ones still available are 2 or solos. It's pretty cool.
So I think that's a question I've got too, is I'll tell you, as a broker / real estate advisor that knows enough about operations to be dangerous, but I'm not an operator. I'm very clear about that. I have always been animate against having floors that are not contiguous, right? And you guys have a handful of those, right? You have it out in McKinney where you're actually on the first floor and then you're on a higher floor. This one, you're on 15 and 17. Central Expressway, kind of same thing. You're on multiple floors. So how does that work from an operations standpoint? How do you view it? Because clearly you guys are comfortable with it because y'all have done it several times now on the newer deals.
Yeah, Central Expressway, I don't think we'd do that. I think I've said that before. I don't think we'd do that one again. That's 3 and 9. It's too big of a difference. 1 floor difference of 16 was locked up in the building. Building is somewhat vacant. They're redoing the lobby, which is going to be awesome. I haven't been over there in a couple of weeks, but it's awesome. It actually looks very Lucid-y in there. But to get that 17th floor, like we would have taken anything else. Like it was awesome to get the top story of this fantastic building in Dallas. Like, and we knew we were going to fill that up quickly. And, for a build out, for a staffing, all of that stuff, like we know this was a better financial move to build, 2 stories. And obviously we're staying pretty occupied there. We would have loved them right back to back, but nobody's using steps anyway. Gio, you using steps walking in between centers? No, you get on the elevator, right? So I don't even know. Like here, I'm in Buckhead and we're in 4 and 7, and they're 2 smaller ones. I think they're only like maybe 10,000 square feet on each floor. But you don't really notice the difference. Just get in the elevator and pop in between. I'd love for them to be next to each other, but we couldn't get that.
What's the minimum you would do square foot wide now that you're talking about?
Oh, do you say Herring?
No, you.
Oh, yeah. 20 is probably pretty on the low side. I think we're really more in the 28 to 32 right now. I think I think it was a little over 30 was the 80. That's really and I think that's probably the tops too. Somewhere in that range, maybe 26 to 32.
Yeah, and hearing yours is 30 is the smallest, right?
No, we've actually got a 21 and a 23 and a 22, but when we can do it, yeah, we'd rather be bigger because the synergies, the economies of scale are just better. Mm-hmm. But I do have one question, John. As you were talking there, I was thinking you've made a jump not only in branding, but you've also jumped locations, cities. You were Dallas forever, I don't know, for the majority, which is great. There's a lot of synergies there, and the founder is here. But then you guys made the strategic move to jump to other cities, and that's a big deal. Now, we were in 3 cities for a while: Dallas, Houston, Austin. We were trying to replicate the Southwest model, Dallas, Houston, Austin.
Mm.
And we thought, it's all Texas. But upon recollection or thinking, if you're in Atlanta, Georgia, 3.5 hours, which is what it is from Dallas to Austin, 4.5 to Houston, you can get to like 8 states. So it's almost like we're in the same state, but the distance is pretty great. But you guys, I mean, you jumped not only down to Houston, but you jumped over to Phoenix, Scottsdale. You jumped to Cable Mountain. You jumped over to Atlanta, and I'm sure you're in other cities that I'm not thinking about. That's a big deal to go to that big of a geographical spread. So what was the strategy there? Why did you decide? Because, I mean, a lot of people would say, John, there's plenty of opportunity in Texas. I mean, why make the jump?
I think Flip has a vision that people are going to have a better experience in their workday and in their life when they come into a Lucid. He like Newman, a little bit of a dreamer. I think a little more, I'll say the right word, just a little more Flip than that. Okay, so he knows when believes, and I believe this is why I love working with somebody really visionary like that, that workday is a lot of time away from your family. And to provide an opportunity to be around people you enjoy, that is beautiful surroundings, that you can build relationships with and friendships. Men especially have struggled to build relationships and friendships. Like, when's the last, Gio's, a hyper extrovert, but just to ask another guy like, hey, do you want to get lunch? That's tough to do, like, to a stranger. Like, he wants to build these communities really everywhere. His thing is like, the world, the country would be a better place if there are Lucids in every city. Like that it's conducive for real good conversation and business, and we can be more successful. We're surrounded by beauty and surrounded by good people, and felt like that being in bigger markets, like NFL-sized cities in the Sun Belt is his idea. So, Nashville, Orlando-ish, and I know there's a football team there, but that's Charlotte. Those sort of areas are in the horizon to say, like, I want to be able to touch people everywhere, like to really be able to help people with their workday and be successful. Those are hot markets that Atlanta has been very good. Phoenix has been awesome. We're really excited about what's happening in Phoenix, that there's some great success. And I again, saying this humbly, he was able to do this because he hired me to help with the staffing and with a lot of the operation, that he wasn't interviewing, folks to sit at the front desk. Like, that was some of his time that he was doing to do that. And I have a pretty smart business mind to be able to help him and think about things and question him. He called me the other day and said, okay, I forget what exactly it is. I always said, okay, I want you to question me on this. And then if I disagree with you, I want you to support me. I'm like, yeah, you got that. Like, I'm fine with it. Like but he's like, but still challenge me. Like, yeah, I love someone like that. Like that can say, challenge me, like continue to ask me some questions on things. So I'm proud and really blessed to be a person that is able to help him in those new markets, because we didn't start in Atlanta until I came on.
Hmm.
Outside of the state.
So we're going to end with this one, and you just teed it up for me. So, and it wasn't a plan. You just made it a plan. So you said as men, sometimes it's hard to open up and ask others to do lunch or to have, certain conversation or anything else. I mean, you guys have both spent enough time with each other together and afar. So this is how we're going to end this episode is, Herring, I want you to say the things you love most about Egan, and then Egan, you're going to say what you love about Herring most, and that's how we're going to end.
Well, one of my favorite Egan memories is, and you brought it up a minute ago, you said that we had been on stage at Juicy. The reality is we were on stage and off stage dancing to Beyonce's country and western song, whatever that is. That's a good Egan memory for me. We got asked to do that, and he's camp director guy. I mean, that's what that's right in his wheelhouse. And, a COO, a VP of operations guy, it can typically be kind of a boring dude to be around. But John Egan is great. See, he's one of those rare dudes that's great with processes, hiring, HR, design, all the things. You walk into one of his centers and you see his footprint, his fingerprint all over it. And he's a fun guy to hang around, and that's a rare thing. So I'm super happy to count him as a friend and a colleague in the industry. When we've done some things together, we keep getting paired up together, which is great.
I love it.
We have a lot of fun doing it. That's kind of our thing. When we go to one of these conferences and we're on the panel, we say, all right, number one goal here is really to have fun and keep the audience engaged and try to help share some useful information. And John's top of the list.
Thank you very much. It's so difficult to hear things like that. It's like, I cringe. Like if you're watching this on video, like my body language cannot hear compliments. It's very difficult. So thank you. I think one of the things that impresses me so much about John is his faith, and how much his faith is put into action in service through their company and through his heart. Like that he would take time away in all his free time away from his family to say like, okay, I'm going to, worked all day, but the community needs me. Like I'm going to do this. And his company is focused on service and, certain components of their giving, and Flip does that personally, and we all do it personally, but like as a company that they're devoted to serving the poor. And that's what a gift. Like you see that in nonprofits, that's easy, but in for-profit companies that say like, hey, this is part of our mission. Like we're going to help others. That is second to none. It's incredible to see what Fuse does in that. And they're beautiful centers as well.
And so, now I'll add my spin. So what I love about both Fuse and Lucid is the leadership, right? And it starts at the top and it trickles down. And, Mike with Fuse is a dear friend of mine. He's not only a client, but he is a dear friend that I have a lot of love and respect for. And that trickles down to John. And so John's been given the ability to grow that team and pour into it, and his mission-based background allows for him to do that, John. And so, I love your passion for your team and delivering an incredible product, and how you love your family, right? Which allows others to be able to step into that in a big way. And so I'm grateful for you for always being willing to be on an adventure, right? I mean, I called you the other day. I'm like, hey, I need a co-host, co-guest. And you're like, sure. What are we talking about? And you trust me enough to be like, I don't know. We're going to figure it out. Just three bros having a good time on a chat. So thank you for that. And John, I mean, Flip is so consistent. He's consistently inconsistent. And that's what I love about it, right? Is he shows up at all the conferences. Like we got Mexico City next week for GWA Immersive, and he's flying in, and he flies in for one day just to hang out with us that night. And then he turns back and goes back and does his father, grandfather, business CEO thing. And so he always makes time, and he makes time for those that he loves and he cares about. And I know we give each other a hard time, but I have a lot of respect for him and how he always shows up. Right. And back to your point on him not being on stage. I mean, he prefers to be in the lobby as a lobby rat, having, deep, intimate conversation or getting into details or just having a good time. But again, I mean, that his vision for bringing in someone that was a camp director, and quite honestly, his ethics behind it, of not going after, I mean, he was on the board, which is how he met you, but not going after the camp director of something he was on the board on. He waited like a gentleman, right? I won't use that word for him often, but he waited for you to step out and go do the insurance thing, and kind of gave some time for there to be a cooling period before going after you. But he had that vision when he met you of you being in this role. And I've never had a conversation with him whether he envisioned you stepping in so he could grow the company, or he just thought you were good for the role. But your desire to grow and be more, and to take constructive feedback, right? You and I had a great barbecue lunch in which I was like, man, just step up and be more bold, right? Be more of a lion, just take charge more. And it's been awesome just to see you do some of those things, right? Because I think that's the beautiful thing about both y'all, is y'all are both respectful, loving, kind men, right? But at the same time, you have to boldly step up and lead, right? And sometimes when you have strong leaders like Mike and Flip, it's hard to do that because you almost feel like you're having to rip it from them. But the reality is for them to go both do what they are called to do, both professionally and personally, it takes having people that can step in, right? And we won't be, we could get into all the details on the organization below y'all, the, amazing women and men that allow for you to do that because you trust them. But your leadership is both. We see it, right? And I'm very grateful for it. And, I highly respect both of you. And thank you so much for joining us and having this conversation. I can't wait to see you guys next time. Are you both going to Juicy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So excited to see you guys in Boston in a couple of weeks. And I love you both. So
Wow. Thanks,
have a
Gio and
great
John.
day.
Appreciate it.
Of course.
Thanks, John, Gio. Awesome.